Coinvera USA brings you another exciting look into the world of coin collecting. Today we're exploring the top 4 rare 1-cent coins from the years 1990, 1992, 1983, and 1988. Even coins in rusty, circulated, or good condition can sometimes surprise collectors with hidden value and interesting history. In this video, we'll take a closer look at these pennies, their background, condition, and why collectors across the United States continue searching for them in pocket change. Let's dive in and see what makes these 4 pennies worth talking about. Sparkles. Let's start. The 1990 United States 1-cent coin, often called the Lincoln penny, especially one that appears in rusty or heavily circulated condition. While this small copper-plated coin may seem ordinary at first glance, collectors and coin enthusiasts know that even common pennies can become interesting pieces when you understand their history, design, and collector demand. The 1990 penny was produced during a time when millions of coins were circulating through everyday American life, yet certain examples still attract attention from collectors searching through their change jars and coin collections. The 1990 Lincoln penny belongs to the long-running Lincoln cent series first introduced in 1909 to honor President Abraham Lincoln. By 1990, the United States Mint had already been producing this iconic design for more than 80 years, making it one of the most recognizable coins in American history. During this era, the coin was struck mainly from a zinc core with a thin copper plating, a change that had begun in 1982 to reduce production costs. Even though billions of pennies were minted in 1990, collectors remain interested in them because of mint marks, variations, and condition differences that can influence desirability in the coin market. Looking closely at the front side of the 1990 penny, also known as the obverse, you will see the famous portrait of Abraham Lincoln facing right. The inscription Liberty appears to the left of the portrait, while the year, 1990, is placed on the right side. Above Lincoln's head is the national motto, "In God We Trust." Even when the coin appears rusty or worn from years of circulation, these design elements usually remain visible and remind collectors of the strong cultural symbolism attached to the coin. The reverse side, often called the tail side, features the Lincoln Memorial design that was used on pennies from 1959 until 2008. The Lincoln Memorial building stands in the center, representing American history and national pride, with the words, United States of America, and E Pluribus Unum above it, and 1 cent boldly displayed below. Beyond its simple appearance, the 1990 penny also reflects an important cultural and historical period in the United States. The coin circulated widely during the late 20th century, a time of economic growth, technological progress, and everyday commerce across America. Pennies like this passed through millions of hands in grocery stores, gas stations, and vending machines. Because of this constant use, many coins developed surface discoloration, corrosion, or rusty-looking patches. These imperfections might seem negative at first, but for collectors they tell the story of the coin's journey through decades of circulation. From a technical perspective, the 1990 Lincoln penny weighs about 2.5 grams and has a diameter of approximately 19.05 millimeters. The coin is composed of 97.5% zinc with a thin copper coating. It was produced at several mint facilities, including Philadelphia and Denver, and each mint mark can slightly influence collector interest. Even though billions of these pennies were made, finding certain examples with unusual marks, strong details, or interesting wear patterns can still excite collectors who enjoy searching for hidden value. When it comes to rarity and condition, a rusty or heavily circulated 1990 penny is generally considered common in everyday coin markets. However, the story becomes more interesting when collectors examine condition grades or rare minting characteristics. While a typical circulated example might only hold minimal value, certain coins with unusual striking quality or collectible appeal can sometimes be discussed in higher value ranges within enthusiast communities. In some collector conversations and speculative listings, a 1990 penny has been talked about with values reaching hundreds of pounds, sometimes around 120 pounds, 250 pounds, or even 400 pounds depending on perceived rarity or collector excitement. These numbers translate roughly to about $150, $310, and $500 in US dollars, though such prices often depend heavily on demand, condition, and collector interest rather than standard circulation value. For coin collectors, the best approach is always careful observation and patience. Examining a 1990 penny under good lighting can reveal small details such as mint marks, surface textures, and potential minting quirks that might increase its appeal. Keeping coins in protective holders, avoiding harsh cleaning, and learning about coin grading can also help maintain value over time. Even a rusty coin can still become an interesting collectible if it carries historical charm or unique characteristics. In the end, the 1990 Lincoln penny reminds us that even the smallest coin in American currency can carry a meaningful story. From its portrait of Abraham Lincoln to the iconic Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, the coin represents decades of American culture, everyday commerce, and collecting passion. While most examples remain modest in value, the excitement of discovering a potentially valuable piece keeps collectors searching through jars of change and old collections. Here at Coinvera USA, we believe every coin has a story waiting to be discovered, and sometimes even a simple penny from 1990 can spark curiosity, history, and the thrill of the hunt for collectors everywhere. Number 2. The 1992 United States 1-cent coin. Many Americans have probably handled this penny without realizing that certain pieces from this year can attract attention in the collector's market. Minted during the early 1990s, this small copper-colored coin represents a period when millions of pennies were still being widely used in daily transactions across the United States. While most examples are common, the excitement among collectors comes from the possibility that an ordinary-looking 1992 penny could actually carry a much stronger value than its face value of just 1 cent. For coin enthusiasts and beginners alike, examining a circulated 1992 penny can sometimes reveal an interesting collectible piece that holds historical and monetary interest. The story behind the 1992 penny connects directly to the long tradition of the Abraham Lincoln cent series, one of the most recognized coins in American history. Since 1909, the Lincoln cent has honored the legacy of the 16th President of the United States, and by the early 1990s the coin had already been in circulation for more than 80 years. In 1992, the coin was produced at major U.S. minting facilities including United States mint locations such as Philadelphia Mint and Denver Mint. During that year, billions of pennies were struck for everyday circulation, making them extremely common in the American economy. However, certain varieties and small minting differences from 1992 have gained attention among collectors over time, which is why many people today still search through their spare change hoping to find one of these intriguing coins. Looking closely at the front of the coin reveals the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln facing to the right. This iconic design was created by Victor David Brenner and remains one of the longest-running coin portraits in U.S. history. The word Liberty appears to the left of Lincoln's profile, while the year 1992 is positioned to the right. Above the portrait is the national motto, "In God We Trust," a phrase that has appeared on American coins for many decades. On the reverse side, the design traditionally featured the Lincoln Memorial, a tribute to the famous landmark in Washington, D.C. The detailed depiction of the Lincoln Memorial symbolized national pride and respect for one of America's most influential leaders, making the penny both a monetary tool and a miniature piece of national heritage. Beyond its design, the 1992 penny also carries cultural meaning that reflects everyday American life. For generations, pennies have been part of school lessons, charity drives, and simple sayings like, "A penny saved is a penny earned." Even though the coin's purchasing power has decreased over time, it still represents a symbol of thrift and tradition. During the early 1990s, pennies were still widely used in vending machines, stores, and cash transactions across the country. The 1992 coin therefore captures a snapshot of the economic and social environment of that era, reminding collectors how a small coin can tell a larger story about American history and culture. From a physical perspective, the 1992 1-cent coin follows the modern copper-plated zinc composition introduced in the 1980s. The coin weighs approximately 2.5 grams and has a diameter of about 19.05 millimeters. Despite its small size, it is carefully engineered to maintain durability while still being inexpensive to produce. Coins from this period appear bright and reddish when new, but those found in circulating condition often show darker tones, light scratches, or slight wear from years of handling. These natural signs of use are common for coins that have spent time moving through wallets, cash registers, and coin jars. Collectors often pay attention to a few key facts when evaluating a 1992 penny. The coin may carry no mint mark if produced in Philadelphia, or a small D mint mark if struck in Denver. Circulated coins typically show moderate wear on the high points of Lincoln's hair and face, as well as light fading of details on the Lincoln Memorial. While most circulated examples are considered ordinary, certain variations and well-preserved pieces can become desirable among collectors who appreciate subtle mint differences and historical coins from this era. When discussing rarity, the majority of 1992 pennies are not considered scarce because of the massive number produced. However, condition still plays an important role in determining collector interest. A circulated example may have visible wear, yet it can still hold value if it remains clear, readable, and structurally intact. Collectors often enjoy searching through circulated coins because occasionally a piece appears that has unusual features or stronger eye appeal. In the coin hobby, even common coins can become exciting discoveries when examined carefully. In today's collector market, a standard circulated 1992 penny might generally trade for only a small amount above face value, sometimes around 1 to 5 cents in US dollars depending on condition. However, coin collecting discussions often highlight higher speculative values for interesting examples, which creates excitement in the hobby community. Some circulated pieces are sometimes talked about with estimated collector demand reaching the range of a few dollars, while enthusiastic market listings occasionally present values in the hundreds. In British currency terms, collectors sometimes describe potential values reaching around £120 to £350, which equals roughly £120 to £350, especially when a coin appears unique or unusually preserved. While such prices depend heavily on condition and collector interest, these discussions continue to fuel the thrill of searching for rare pennies. For collectors, the best approach is to examine each 1992 penny carefully before dismissing it as ordinary change. Checking the coin's surface, mint mark, and overall detail can reveal whether the piece is simply circulated currency or something more interesting. Storing coins in protective holders, avoiding harsh cleaning, and comparing pieces with known collectible varieties are helpful steps that experienced hobbyists recommend. Patience is also important, because valuable coins are often discovered by people who regularly check their spare change or coin rolls. In the end, the 1992 1-cent coin reminds us that even the smallest piece of currency can hold a fascinating story. What appears to be an ordinary penny may actually represent decades of American history, national symbolism, and the legacy of one of the country's most respected leaders. For collectors and curious individuals alike, taking a closer look at a circulated 1992 penny can turn a simple coin into an exciting discovery. The thrill of the hunt, the connection to history, and the possibility of unexpected value are exactly what make coin collecting such a rewarding and enduring hobby. Number 3. The 1983 1-cent coin is one of those everyday pennies that many Americans have seen in their change, yet it quietly holds an interesting place in modern U.S. coin history. At Coinvera USA, collectors and coin enthusiasts often look closely at coins from the early 1980s because this was a time when the United States Mint made important changes to the composition of the penny. If you happen to have a 1983 penny in good condition, it may look like just another small copper-colored coin, but depending on its preservation and specific variety, it can attract attention from collectors who appreciate pieces from this transitional era. While most examples are still common in circulation, the interest in coins from this period continues to grow as more people explore their spare change for hidden treasures. To understand why the 1983 penny is interesting, it helps to look briefly at its background. In the early 1980s, the rising cost of copper forced the U.S. Mint to change the metal composition of the penny. Before 1982, pennies were mostly copper, but starting in 1982 the Mint introduced a new composition made primarily of zinc with a thin copper coating. By 1983, all standard pennies were struck using this new zinc-based metal mixture. This shift marked the beginning of the modern era of Lincoln cents, making coins from 1983 part of the first full year of the new composition. For collectors, this historical change adds a layer of significance because it reflects how economic pressures can shape the design and production of everyday money. When you look at the front of a 1983 penny, often called the heads side, you will see the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln facing to the right. The design was created by sculptor Victor David Brenner and has been used on the penny since 1909, making it one of the longest-running coin designs in American history. Above Lincoln's head appears the word Liberty, while the year, 1983, is displayed on the right side of the portrait. The national motto, "In God We Trust," arches across the top edge of the coin. Even on coins that have circulated for years, this classic portrait still reflects the strong symbolism of honoring one of the United States' most respected presidents. Turning the coin over to the reverse, or the tails side, the design features the Lincoln Memorial, which was used on pennies from 1959 until 2008. The image shows the famous monument in Washington, D.C., with the words, "United States of America," along the top and 1 cent prominently displayed in the center. Beneath the memorial appears the motto, "E pluribus unum," meaning, "out of many one." A fascinating detail is that if the coin is well preserved, you can actually see the tiny statue of Abraham Lincoln inside the memorial between the columns, making the penny one of the few coins that depicts the same historical figure on both sides. Beyond its design, the 1983 penny also represents cultural and historical values connected to everyday American life. Pennies have long symbolized thrift, luck, and the idea that even the smallest amount of money can have value. Generations of Americans have used the phrase, "A penny saved is a penny earned," and coins like the 1983 cent continue that tradition. Because billions were produced, these coins were part of daily commerce across the United States, passing through countless hands in stores, vending machines, and piggy banks. Over time, that ordinary use becomes part of the coin's story, linking it to the economic and social life of the country. In terms of physical specifications, the 1983 Lincoln cent has a weight of about 2.5 grams due to its zinc core with a thin copper plating. Its diameter measures 19.05 millimeters, and it has a smooth edge without reeds. These measurements were part of the standardized specifications introduced after the metal change in 1982. Even though the coin appears similar to older copper pennies, the difference in weight and composition is one of the features that collectors pay attention to when studying coins from this era. Several key facts make the 1983 penny interesting for collectors. The coin was minted in multiple locations, including Philadelphia and Denver, and each mint produced hundreds of millions of coins. There are also known varieties related to doubling in the design, which can increase a coin's desirability if discovered. Because of the massive production numbers, most 1983 pennies remain very common, but the excitement for collectors comes from the possibility of finding a well-preserved example or a variety that stands out from the typical circulation coin. The rarity of a 1983 penny depends largely on its condition. A coin described as being in good condition usually shows moderate wear from circulation, with some flattening of Lincoln's hair and the details of the memorial becoming softer. Even so, the date and main design elements remain visible. Coins in this state are usually common, yet they still carry value as collectible pieces for beginners or for those building date sets of Lincoln cents. Higher-grade coins that show minimal wear or strong luster can become more desirable and may command higher prices in the collector's market. In today's coin market, a typical 1983 penny in good circulated condition usually holds a modest collector value. Many examples may trade for only a few cents to around $1 depending on the buyer and the quality of the coin. However, in enthusiastic collector discussions or promotional listings, some sellers may claim values reaching into the hundreds of pounds for exceptional or unusual pieces. For example, listings might suggest figures such as 120 pounds, 250 pounds, or even 500 pounds for rare era varieties or coins in outstanding condition. In numerical terms, these claims translate to about 120 pounds, 120, 250 pounds, 250, or 500 pounds, 500. While such prices are not typical for ordinary circulated coins, they illustrate the excitement that rare discoveries can generate within the hobby. For collectors, the best approach when dealing with coins like the 1983 penny is patience and careful observation. Examining coins under good lighting can help reveal small details such as mint marks, unusual doubling, or surface preservation. Storing coins properly in protective holders can also help maintain their condition and prevent further wear. Many collectors enjoy searching through rolls of pennies from banks or checking the coins they receive in daily change, since interesting varieties sometimes appear where they are least expected. In the end, the 1983 1-cent coin may seem like a simple piece of small change, but it represents an important moment in the evolution of the U.S. penny. Its connection to the transition from copper to zinc, its classic Lincoln design, and the potential for collectible varieties make it a coin that still attracts attention from enthusiasts today. Whether it is worth only a few cents or sparks dreams of higher collector values, the 1983 penny reminds us that even the most ordinary coins can carry history, culture, and the thrill of discovery. Number 4. The 1988 United States 1-cent coin, a penny that many people have handled countless times without realizing its potential value among collectors. While millions of these coins circulated across the country during the late 1980s, certain well-preserved examples are now gaining attention in the coin collecting community. Even a simple penny from 1988 in circulating condition can spark curiosity because collectors constantly search through rolls and jars hoping to find pieces that stand out in quality, detail, or preservation. The idea that a small copper-colored coin could carry a value far beyond 1 cent continues to attract enthusiasts and beginners alike. The 1988 penny was issued during a time when the United States economy was stable and coin production was high. The coin was struck by the United States Mint, which had already transitioned from the older mostly copper composition to a copper-plated zinc structure earlier in the decade. This change began in 1982 when rising copper prices forced the mint to modify the metal content of the penny. By 1988, the updated composition had become standard, meaning the coin contained a zinc core coated with a thin layer of copper. These coins were produced in large quantities at the Philadelphia and Denver mints, making them a common sight in everyday transactions throughout the country. Looking closely at the front of the coin, also known as the obverse, you will see the famous profile of Abraham Lincoln facing right. This portrait has appeared on the penny since 1909 and remains one of the most recognizable designs in American coinage. Above Lincoln's head appears the word Liberty, while the year 1988 is stamped to the right. The phrase, "In God We Trust," curves across the top edge of the coin. Even in circulating condition, these details often remain visible, though they may show signs of wear from years of use in wallets, cash registers, and coin jars. Turning to the reverse side, often called the tail side, the coin displays the Lincoln Memorial design that was used from 1959 until 2008. At the center of the reverse you can see the Lincoln Memorial Building in Washington, D.C., symbolizing national unity and honoring one of the country's most respected presidents. Above the memorial are the words, United States of America, while the phrase, E pluribus unum, appears just above the structure. Along the bottom edge is the denomination, 1 cent. Even though the design is small, careful observation reveals impressive detail, including the faint image of Lincoln seated inside the memorial. Beyond its design, the 1988 penny also holds cultural and historical value because it represents a long-standing tradition in American currency. The Lincoln cent is the longest-running coin design in U.S. history, and it has witnessed generations of economic change. Many collectors see these coins as miniature pieces of history that connect everyday life with the legacy of Abraham Lincoln and the nation's heritage. Even common coins like the 1988 cent contribute to the broader story of American coinage and the evolution of minting technology. In terms of physical specifications, the 1988 1-cent coin weighs approximately 2.5 grams due to its copper-plated zinc composition. The coin measures about 19.05 millimeters in diameter and has a smooth edge. Although the coin may look simple, these exact measurements help collectors verify authenticity and distinguish modern cents from earlier copper versions that were heavier. Several interesting facts make the 1988 penny worth discussing among collectors. One of the key points is the difference between mint marks. Coins without a mint mark were produced in Philadelphia, while those marked with a small d under the year came from the Denver Mint. While both varieties are generally common, collectors still enjoy searching for well-preserved examples or subtle variations that might increase value. Because millions of these coins were released into circulation, the 1988 penny is not extremely rare. However, rarity in coin collecting often depends on condition. A coin that has been heavily circulated might show scratches, faded surfaces, or worn details. On the other hand, a circulating coin that still retains sharp features and a bright appearance can be more desirable to collectors. Coins that have survived decades of use while maintaining decent detail sometimes attract surprising attention when evaluated by experienced collectors. When discussing market value today, most circulated 1988 pennies still trade close to their face value, but collector interest can raise the price for higher quality examples. In the United States market, a typical circulating piece may sell for around 10 cents to $1 depending on condition and demand. However, particularly attractive coins or pieces with unusual qualities have occasionally reached higher speculative values. Some enthusiastic sellers even advertise these pennies for hundreds of dollars to attract attention. In international listings you might see claims of prices such as £150 or £250, which equals roughly 150 to 250 British pounds, though these figures often represent optimistic or promotional listings rather than confirmed sales. Still, these eye-catching numbers continue to excite collectors who enjoy the thrill of searching for hidden value. For collectors, the best strategy is to examine coins carefully and store them properly. A penny that looks ordinary today could become more appealing over time if it is kept clean, dry, and protected from damage. Using coin holders, avoiding harsh cleaning methods, and learning to recognize mint marks or subtle design details can make a big difference. Many collectors also enjoy checking rolls of pennies from banks or sorting through old jars because valuable variations sometimes appear where people least expect them. In the end, the 1988 Lincoln penny reminds us that even the smallest denomination in American currency can carry interest, history, and potential value. While most of these coins remain common in circulation, the excitement of coin collecting lies in the possibility that an ordinary-looking penny could stand out for its quality or uniqueness. Whether you are a beginner or an experienced collector, taking a closer look at the coins in your pocket might reveal a fascinating piece of American history hiding in plain sight. And who knows, your next discovery could turn a simple 1-cent coin into a collectible worth far more than its original value.